Hello, everyone. Always Dizzy here. So, as the title shows, I hired 7 professional chess coaches. Um, I had most of the lessons done last week, and I I did this mostly for myself, but obviously I thought this would be a great opportunity to make a video to share how this experience and experiment went. Um, so yeah, here we go. I have a little slide presentation here. So first of all, yep, I hired 7 different chess coaches. I'll explain why I did that in a minute. A quick background about me. I'm currently, my peak is 2189 Lichess Rapid. I'm in the 2000s in the other 3 time controls. And I've been getting chess lessons with a with a with a coach for I'm not sure how long now, around 2 years, that I've had around 35 lessons with. Actually, every single one of those lessons is on my YouTube channel if you want to watch them. Um, and I'm like he's a very friendly coach. I don't really have any issues with him, but at the same time, I thought it would be in my own self interest to just see what other coaches are like and what else is out there. Um, if I only ever try one coach, you just don't know. Maybe there's somebody better suited to you, So I thought it made sense that I should try other ones. I might have gone a little bit overboard with trying 7 different ones, especially just last week, but I'm a little bit crazy when I'm trying to improve. I found all of the coaches on the coaches section of Lichess. There's also a coaches section on chess.com. I think there's a website by Chess24 called something like CoChess or something. I forget, but there's a lot of ways to find a chess coach, so that's not a difficult matter. But I decided to find all my coaches on Lichess. I spent an incredible amount of time searching for which coaches I wanted to get lessons with. I contacted a lot of coaches. First of all, I contacted only coaches that publicly displayed their prices. Basically, because I was too lazy to ask them what their prices were, so if they didn't list them. But then after a lot of coaches didn't respond to me, like by the way, like maybe a third of coaches would actually reply to me, and some of them took like a week or two to get back to me. So then I started contacting coaches that didn't display their prices, and and um, and then I got some responses as well from them. I also reached out to my if I could choose any coach in the world. I'm talking about like even if I could get Magnus Carlsen or anybody in the world to teach me, I seeked out the number one coach that I would love to have, and he replied, and he was very friendly and professional, but I could not afford his rates. It was a lot more expensive than I was expecting, but I respect that. But unfortunately, yeah, that did not work out. Okay, so yeah, I just wanted to mention that the coaches that I did contact, these were coaches that I didn't just randomly select coaches. So they had to kind of fit a few criteria for me. Like they had to be at least a national master, because not every coach listed on the Lichess coaches page is a titled player. Some are actually somewhat low rated, relatively speaking. And I wanted to make sure that English was that they were fluent in English, and another important thing is that the time zones had to match up. So there were a lot of coaches that I was not able to really contact because they are just in a different part of the world, and the time zones just would not work. So I kind of had to limit my search to mainly coaches in the Americas, so North America or South America. Okay, moving on. So about the coaches. So first of all, I asked the coaches if they would allow me to stream the lessons and add them to my YouTube channel. Three coaches agreed to this, and one of them considered considered it if I got more lessons down the road, which I think was completely fair. It would have been nice if they all said yes, but I totally understand why they might say no. So I respect that. But yeah, I mean, so in relation to that, I actually have, if you go to my YouTube channel, well, if you're watching this, I guess it's easy to go to my YouTube channel, but I actually have the full lessons of 4 of the coaches on my channel. So I've got 2 lessons from one coach on there, and then I have, oh wait, is that right though? Is it just 3 coaches? Sorry, it might just be, it might just be 3 coaches, but I have 4 videos. I think I have 2 videos of one coach, 1 video of another coach, and then I have like 35 or 37 videos of my main coach. Okay. I probably should have spaced out the lessons over a longer period of time, like over 2 or 3 weeks, because first of all, it was pretty exhausting. Like every day I was getting a lesson. So every evening I had a lesson with a different coach, and it's pretty exhausting. And the other thing is there was a lot of overlap between games. So some of the coaches would go over the same game because, they're going to go over my most recent games, right, in reverse chronological order. And so therefore there was a lot of overlap, like looking at the same games with different coaches, which I think has pros and cons. I already know what the mistakes were, but at the same time, it's nice to get different coaches' opinions. And I have more on that coming up. The rates ranged from as cheap as $15 per hour to $60 per hour. And the average, so the average was around $35. Some people may think like, okay, why are you spending money for chess lessons? But if you think about it, like $35 for professional coaching is actually pretty good. Because if you were to get music lessons, I think music, like piano lessons or violin, like good private one-on-one lessons, it's more like $50 an hour, I think, on average, right? And those, I don't even think they are maybe as qualified or as strong as a titled player is in chess, if you know what I mean. Like there's a lot of piano teachers out there. So I like price wise, I know it might feel weird to spend money on coaches, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not that bad. It's like if it really improves your play, is it worth it? I mean, it's like the price of like 4 Starbucks coffees or something for a lesson. You know what I mean? Like, so anyways, the 2 of the highest coaches that I got lessons from were rated over 2,600 FIDE. So, I mean, pretty strong. One of them was actually number 1 or number 2 in his country. I think number 1. And I mean, yeah, they're pretty strong. The other one has games against 3 world champions and, 3 former world champions and just a lot of the top super GMs. So these were very strong players. And then the lowest was a national master. And funnily enough, I didn't get any lessons from an IM. It just worked out that way. I didn't purposely do that. So the rest were all FMs. So 2 were GMs, 1 was an NM, the rest were FMs. Okay. So how did the coaching experiences go? Okay, so first off, and I think this is an important thing, and as I say this, I don't want to, like, I'm not giving out the names of the coaches that I used because I don't want to say anything bad about anyone specifically. But honestly speaking, so the worst value I got was from the 2 grandmasters, by far, and they were friendly. They were very friendly and polite and everything, but the actual lesson I was very disappointed in. Now, first of all, I should mention actually that one of those GMs, I actually got lessons for free. Like he actually gave me, I forget, 2 or 3 lessons. And I just didn't continue with them myself. But those lessons were free. He offered, it was him that he offered to give me the lessons for free. Like I reached out for him for lessons and he's like, okay, I'll give you some free lessons. Now it's because English isn't his first language, and he kind of wanted to help work on his chess vocabulary, which I in turn kind of helped him while he was giving the lesson. I tried to help him with the English. I was trying to pay back the lesson in a way. Um, so I mean, I can't complain for that because I got those for free. But in both of those lessons, those were not personalized lessons at all. They were really like interactive lectures. Like they basically gave me a couple positions, one of the grandmasters went through a couple of his games that he played. They weren't even from my game, so they didn't even prepare for me at all, the lesson. And they basically just went. They were just, like, one of them just showed me how to attack. Like, this is how to attack, and I'm pretty sure that this is just kind of like a canned lesson that they just give to multiple students. And I really felt like I really didn't appreciate that. It just felt like really low effort. So yeah, and that was the most expensive lesson too. So I kind of knew this going in, that like just because someone is higher rated, it doesn't mean they're a good coach. But this is partly why I did this experiment. So this is good advice for you people out there that haven't got a coach yet, that especially if you're lower rated, you don't need to get like a super strong coach. The stronger the coach doesn't mean they're a good coach. So basically they would just, their lessons were just like me watching a video, essentially. Okay. Another coach, he talked for the first 45 minutes. He also wasn't on, he was actually the only coach that wasn't on. No, actually there were two coaches that weren't on video. And so he talked for the first 45 minutes. Like we didn't even like go over a game or anything. I just stared at a blank screen and he talked for 45 minutes. But those 45 minutes, I'm not sure what I think about it. I don't think it was a complete waste, or even a waste at all. He basically spoke to me about his what he thought about chess and improving, and kind of what is important. And so it's kind of hard for me to explain this, but I'm just trying to say that I'm just pointing this out because every lesson was a little bit different, right, from every coach. And so again, we didn't even go over games or anything. He was basically just talking to me about what is kind of important to improve in chess. And then after that little mini lecture, he gave me a position and he wanted me to think about it silently for 15 minutes. So it's not even like I was vocalizing my thought process and we were talking through the position. I just had to sit there for 15 minutes silently calculating this one single position to see if I could figure out a solution. The point of that little lesson that he gave, that 15-minute calculation lesson, was to show me how important it is to calculate properly and deeply. At the same time, the moment he made me do that, I felt pretty awkward because, I mean, I'm paying for a lesson, right? So like these 15 minutes, it's like every minute ticking by is just money going down the drain. You know what I mean? Like, so this is like the type of thing that maybe he could have asked me to do outside of the lesson time, because it's just, I'm paying for every minute, and then here I am sitting calculating for 15 minutes. Like, I didn't feel so great about that. Okay. Next up, as I mentioned before, every coach had a different style of teaching. And this is one of the reasons why I think it's important to try different coaches, because different people have different personalities and some people learn better in different ways. So I think if you can find the right coach that can, match your style and personality, that's ideally probably what you want. So for example, two of the coaches recommended that I track my games with like Google Sheets or Excel, which I think I considered by myself before, but they actually kind of showed me what they do, and it was kind of interesting. I'm not going to go too much into that right now, but for example, one of those is in the YouTube video on my channel. But like one of them, he tracks his own games, and he categorizes like his mistakes and where things went wrong, and then he even graphs them to show what he needs to work on. I think that's a really interesting idea. Also, the other interesting thing was two of the coaches, and it was actually the same coaches that recommended the spreadsheets to me. They also recommended the same exact book to me, which I thought was quite interesting, and I've never heard of that book before. So it's not like it was like a well-known book that they recommended to me. So I thought that was very interesting. Those two coaches were really kind of on the same wavelengths. All of the coaches who actually bothered to look over my games for more than 3 minutes, they pretty much gave the same advice to me in terms of where I went wrong in the game and why my moves weren't good. So this is a good thing, obviously, because I mean, if the coaches gave different answers, like, oh no, you should have went F5 instead of Bishop G2 or whatever. The fact that they all kind of agreed where I went wrong, it shows that, well, first of all, that my mistakes are pretty obvious. Like it's not a question of where I went wrong. And secondly, it shows that all of the coaches know, like they know what they're talking about. They can critique. They know how to critique, and again, they know where my issues were. Okay, I think this is the last slide. Out of all of the 7, this is the last slide. So out of all of the 7 coaches I tried, so in addition to my main coach, there were 3, possibly 4 that I might get more lessons from in the future. Basically, those GMs, I don't think I'm going to get lessons with again. I really need the personalized lesson. Otherwise, I could just buy a course. I could totally just buy a course or a book for half the cost and get way more value out of. So I really need that personalized lesson. Very important for me. This was an expensive experiment, but I'd recommend others if you're planning to get a coach or you already have a coach. I do recommend trying out more than one coach, because who knows, maybe the coach you have right now is like one of those bad coaches I got. And again, I feel bad about saying this because if they ever see this video, I don't want to talk bad about them, but I do feel I got kind of shortchanged on those non-personalized lessons. And again, what I just talked about before, different styles of teaching and different personalities. Like one coach may not be great for one person, but it might be great for another person. So that's why I think it's worth checking out multiple coaches. Even if you're happy with your current coach, maybe you find another coach that you're even happier with, or it's just good to have a backup if your one coach goes on vacation for 2 months or stops teaching for whatever reason. I think it's just good to try out multiple people. And I just want to recommend, like, again, if you haven't had a coach already, I do believe that they are priced reasonably. And you might maybe only get a lesson once every 2 weeks or once a month. I mean, it's really not bad. You can get, again, the cheapest coach I hired was $15 American. So 15 USD an hour. I'm sure, most of you can afford $15 a month. So I just want to say that. And then lastly, books and courses offer like fantastic value for the price, but they aren't personalized to you. And there's things that a coach can do that a book or a course can't. So that's my experience hiring 7 chess coaches. Hopefully this was beneficial to you, or interesting at least. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.